of the Network Podcast for Healthcare Consultants. I have another amazing guest for you today, someone who I have a deep connection and relationship with in business. And there is no one else to help you overcome your fears in business than Bisi MacGregor. Bisi, welcome to the Network Podcast. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Elle. I am doing great. Fantastic. It's great to see you. Great to be here.
It's great to see you too, and the lovely colors behind you. You do some amazing things for your clients. And one thing that I know to be true about business is sometimes you need more than just a business coach. You need a lifestyle coach. You may need a stylist, but most importantly, you may need someone to help you with your mindset and help you shift your paradigm. Like it's just a no-brainer. So I would love for you to introduce yourself and to share how you help your clients.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Well, I am the founder of Fear2Freedom and the creator of the Live More Fearless method. I am an international speaker, a TEDx speaker, and I work with high achievers, ambitious, big hearted professionals to transcend their fears so they can go after what they desire in their lives and business. So today I call myself a life and mindset coach. My previous life was all in finance, but today I help you transcend those things that hold you back so you can get to where it is that you desire to be.
Hmm. And for those of you who don't know, Bisi has been a guest on the network podcast before, and she helped so many of the students who follow me and that I mentor really kind of deal with fear head on. So I wanted to bring Bisi back for the simple reason that we need to be supported in the capacity of expanding our mindsets and doing the hard work that sometimes feels uncomfortable. And the truth of the matter is, fear is a big deal, even in the corporate capacity and then transitioning. I know you have been in the corporate world before, you transitioned into opening your own business. So I really want to learn a little bit more about your journey and just some of the feelings that came up for you around fear as you were yourself transitioning from, okay, I'm in the corporate world, I'm thinking about starting a business, but you know what? I'm going to take the leap. I'm going to take the risk because so many of my audience members are healthcare experts and they have thought about starting their consulting business, Bisi, but it's like fear holds them back. So
Yeah.
I want to learn a little bit about your journey because I know we can relate to it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That is such you take me back as the way you just teed up that question. You took me back. And here's I'll start here. So I have 22 years, a little over 22 years in corporate finance. I worked in all kinds of industries, consumer goods, book publishing, beauty, all of that. And you just took me back to one of the days where I recall sitting in conference rooms. Conference rooms. I climbed the corporate ladder. I left as an AVP of finance. And I remember just sitting in conference room. I'm already on like the 20th floor in New York City, overlooking the Hudson. Just beautiful, beautiful days. I'm in a extraordinary building. And it was the fourth hour of us rehashing the same thing over and over. It was supposed to be a 1 hour meeting. Now, up until this point, I've been getting the invitation to do what I'm doing today. But something would always say, but wait a minute, you don't know how to do that. You know how to do this thing. You know how to do finance. You know how to be in this conference room and contribute that way. And I remember sitting in this conference room this particular day, and we were like at the fourth hour, just rehashing the same thing, no end in sight. And I had that same invitation again on my heart. And I thought, but wait, how am I going to do it? Now, Elle, I'm sitting there. I was tired. I was spent. I wasn't inspired. I was not motivated. And it wasn't the first time I was feeling like that. But the voices with the sound inside of me was just like, what are you going to do about it? One said, well, you already know this space. You've been here over 2 decades. Where are you going to start from? Where are you going to start from? You're probably better off staying here and doing it.
Mm.
Yeah. And until I faced that fear head on, I say to my folks, I've had 3 divorces in my life. Not all men, not all women. One man and the corporate world. And the biggest of all was myself, who sat in those conference rooms and battled between, can I go? Can I answer the calling of my soul? And the person who looked in the mirror in a marriage, and all of a sudden I looked and I said, well, who are you? And one day, the invitation got so loud. I felt like I was trapped and it was just time. It was either you live busy or you continue trying to survive here.
Mm.
And I decided to bet on myself.
See, it's betting on yourself is something that we all desire to do, and we do to a certain capacity. I think we've all had that voice or heard that voice. How did you lean into essentially following I can do this? Because I feel
Mm,
like when you're comfortable getting a check every week, when you're comfortable because you built your way up this leadership ladder and now you are acknowledged after all the years of the hard work, how do you release and say, I'm going to bet on me? I feel like, look, that took a lot of work.
yeah.
How did you get to that point, and what did you do to say, I'm going to bet on me? I'm going to listen to the voice that says I can, opposed to I can't.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, if I say it was one thing I did and it just switched, I'd be lying. There are different things day after day. It didn't take one day for me to go, oh, yeah, I'm betting on myself. And now, life is good. No, it took little steps every day to trust myself.
Mm.
Deciding, are you going to trust yourself today? What's going to happen? And here's what I learned. And here's why I love the work that I do. And I call myself a Fear2Freedom coach, because I realized that fear was the gateway to my freedom. Like fear, like when you think about it visually, just visually, fear is the gateway. You got to go through that gate to get to freedom. So I realized that what stood between where I was in conference rooms and in positions that I once loved, it once served me and no longer served me. Where I was and where I wanted to be was nothing but fear. And I began to understand and to process fear differently, and also begin to kind of just look at people, the successful people we see out there that we admire. So they were not born without fear. They weren't born without fear. They just know how to process it differently. So one of the first things that I did was really making those micro decisions. And I tell you, Elle, and I may have mentioned this to you before, even in our past conversation on this podcast. One of the statistics that I learned about that shifted things for me, like this blew things open for me, was this. More than 75% of our decisions are rooted in fear.
Mm.
More than 75% of our decisions are built in fear. What am I talking about? You are saying yes to a thing you really want to say no to. No to a thing you really want to say yes to. Then you find yourself doing the thing and you kind of beat yourself up. What am I doing? Oh my God, I'm not going to do this again. And the next day, you wake up and do it again, because it's how we are programmed. All of us. And if we are not aware, we are just on autopilot. And 75% of the time, we're just making that same decision over and over again. And when you think about it, we're making decisions, I don't know how many times in a day.
Mhm.
Should I listen to that podcast? Should I not? Should I ask the question? Should I not? Should I get support or not? What should I wear? We're always making a decision based on a certain outcome, not based on what we truly want. And that awareness was huge for me, because it allowed me to insert pauses each time I was going to make a decision. Is this what you desire? Or is this your brain making a decision on your behalf because of past experiences?
Wow. That resonates so deeply. Especially there's some keywords that you use. And for those of you who are not taking notes, I highly advise you to take notes because I know I'm going to reflect on this statement this week for a long time to come. Because what I know to be true in business is that even as you reach different milestones and goals, this fear still comes up for me. I can set a huge income intention, hit that intention, and then I've now expanded myself into a new domain to where the fear comes up again. And so you said fear is the gateway to freedom. So many of us, as aspiring and experienced healthcare consultants, go into this because we desire to evolve healthcare, right? But we also desire the freedom that is not attached to being an employee. So I'm going to repeat that because Bisi, that was so powerful. Fear is the gateway to freedom. If you desire the freedom, then you got to deal with your fear.
Absolutely.
Bisi, I feel like fear comes up in so many different ways. For you, as you mentioned, it was this constant voice. It's almost like you have the angel and the devil on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Who are you paying attention to? So you're sitting at the boardroom table. You know that you're the expert. You've been doing all of the work, right? You desire to be on your own and be independent. It came up to you in that particular way. For the clients that you work with, Bisi, how does fear present itself? How can it present itself? Because I know for me, it's like procrastination. Like I will put something off forever, and I'm like, okay, let me check in with myself because something else is going on.
Yeah. I love that question. I really, really love that question because most of the people, a lot of the people that actually come into my world, they're leaders, they're women leaders, they're high achievers, they're ambitious people. They're folks who are successful in their lives already, but they're wanting the next level. So usually they go, but see, I don't have fear. I don't have fear, but I'm pretty confident. I'm a confident person. Yeah, I know. We know how to present confident. We know. And it's not to say that you aren't a confident person, but like you said, Elle, you procrastinate. Because the same person that says, "Oh yeah, I don't have any fear," they're procrastinating. They feel overwhelmed. They want to do it by themselves. They cannot seem to ask for support because they're trying to protect this image of themselves. One of the things that I talk about with my clients is that fear will have you doing one of three things or all three things. It will have you constricting. So speaking of opportunities, you're thinking about going big or going to your next level, and it's, whoa, I'm not sure if I can achieve it. So all of a sudden, you buy into the story that, yeah, I'm really content. I'm really exactly where I want to be. Yeah, I'm good. I'm really good. Not telling yourself the truth of what you truly desire, making excuses, and excuses are so tricky because there is an element of truth in excuses. I have kids. I have to take care of the kids. Yes, that is true. And you got to take care of you too. When do you come in? When do you come in? So excuses, it's so insidious in such a way that usually when somebody says, well, I have kids, I need to take care of my kids, so I really cannot spend any more time on this thing that I want to build. Sometimes people cannot challenge that because it is true. What are you going to leave the kids out? But you know within you that it's an excuse. So fear will have you constricting. Instead of doing what you've been dreaming of, you watch other people doing well, you get intimidated by their brightness, so you constrict. You decide to play small. So playing small is another way. Playing it safe. Fear will also have you condemning, blaming people, complaining. Complaining is huge. And a lot of people think they're not complaining. They think they are. I'm just venting. There is a distinct difference between the two of them. We're finger wagging. We're sharing articles that are not in alignment with what it is that we want to build, yet we say we don't have time. We call complaining conversation. And then we leave that group or that conversation expended. Our energy is depleted. No time to spend on what we actually want. And we wonder, what's going on? What's going on? Fear uses complaining as a tool to keep you in your comfort zone.
Yeah, I think we're all familiar with the comfort zone because the comfort zone can be extremely comfortable. But Bisi, and all that you said and shared, something that just comes up for me is in order to deal with fear, you need to be aware of how it comes up for you. And then you have to be honest with yourself. There are a lot of times where I have to really track what I'm doing and say, okay, why did I do that?
Yes.
I feel a lot of people have not had those honest conversations with themselves to even deal with, okay, what's coming up for them? Is it really fear?
Yeah.
So if we've gotten to this point where we're aware and we know it's fear, how do we move forward?
Mm-hmm. I love that. And this is coming up for me as we're having this conversation. I am the Fear2Freedom coach. I help people bust through their fears. And what I want you to hear is that fear visits me every day. I deal with this every day. Every day. So even just recently, I've been feeling a call to do something a little bigger, a little different than I've been doing. And with my clients, with new clients that I'm wanting to work with. And I've been finding that I'm finding distractions. Let me decorate my bedroom. Actually, I think I really want to go walk somewhere. There are all these little distractions when the real task comes up. And finally, I caught it. Just yesterday, I had a conversation with myself. I said, what's going on? What's going on? Which is why I believe awareness is one of the biggest gifts you can give to yourself. Because when you are aware, you're able to pause and have those honest conversations with yourself. So one of the things that I'm going to say is when you're here, when you're aware, and you know that, yes, fear is at the helm of this thing, is I want you to begin to operate. There are 3 principles I operate on. And the very first one is compassion. Compassion for yourself, first and foremost, before anybody else. We are taught to have compassion. We see other people and we say, oh my God, you're doing so well. It's okay. Give yourself a break. We don't know how to do it for ourselves. So one of the foundations that I lay every day is compassion for yourself, first and foremost. Being able to see your own innocence, that you're doing the best that you can with the level of resources, with the level of knowledge, and the level of awareness that you have. Because you might be on here listening to this and say, oh my God, yeah, I know I wasn't fear procrastinated. This is not licensed to beat yourself up at all. See the innocence in yourself, be gentle with yourself. And here's the second thing, honesty. What do you want? Honesty with yourself, first and foremost, before you can start telling the truth to anyone else, with yourself. And there is a clear reason why compassion comes before that honesty. Because when you are honest without an ounce of compassion, you're being mean, you're being manipulative. The people that say, I tell the truth like it is. I just give it to you straight. Without an ounce of compassion, you're being mean. You're not being honest. So I'm doing the best I can. Okay, now what do I want? Because compassion will create this space in your heart and in your mind to be clear for you to answer that question about what do I really desire? And really being truthful about what you desire. That is so key, Elle.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Bisi, there's something that I actually learned from you that I still do to this day. And just as you mentioned, we deal with fear every day. I have to be transparent in sharing that I deal with fear almost daily also because I'm oftentimes taking risks. Risk in having conversations with someone who may reject that conversation or that relationship. The fear of, I mean, to be honest, like trying to, not trying, that's not the best word to use, but the desire to be perfect at all times, right? Um, but one thing that I learned from you to just check in with myself is to acknowledge the fear for where it is and say, I see you, fear, and I'm going to redirect you to the left because I'm going to pivot to the right and I'm going to keep on moving. Yeah. I learned that from you, and that was so powerful in my progression as a healthcare business consultant. Yeah. Because now I'm no longer moved by that no, which oftentimes always equates to a yes. I'm not moved by a lot of things that the old me would have been just consumed with and really torn down by. So I want to thank you for just that tip of overcome. Can we ever overcome or eliminate fear? I don't think we can, Bisi. But just acknowledging for what it is and saying, I'm not going to give you any energy, any power. I'm going to acknowledge you and put you to the side. That's it.
Yeah. I love that you actually talked about that, not eliminating fear, because for me, I believe once fear is eliminated, you got a problem. You need to check your pulse. Are you awake? What are you doing? Because the only reason why and when fear rears its head is when you are stepping out of your comfort zone. And your comfort zone is what you do today, who you are today, how you move today. It's status quo. And the moment you decide to step out of that, to do something different, to dare to step into your desires, fear is going to rear its head. And like I always say, it will speak to you in the language that you understand, which means it could be, wait a minute, you want to try that business? You want to be a consultant? There's so many consultants out there. I think the market is saturated. Or where are you going to start from? It might fail. It might succeed. It will speak to you in the language that you understand so that you go back into your comfort zone, because your fear is the babysitter of you inside of your comfort zone. And I call those are fear responses. And what happens is when those fears come up, you find something else to do. That's when we procrastinate. That's when we say, oh, everything has to be perfect. And then you begin to say, oh, I'm a perfectionist. I'm a this, I'm a that. You then attribute that to your personality, when it's really only fear just doing its job quite well, keeping you in your comfort zone. So yes, what you're talking about is that the tool Stretch with Pradai, and you could definitely share my TEDx video with your audience, because I talk about this in that video. Once you take those steps, yes, it's acknowledging, oh, I see you. Whoo, I know you're trying to keep me safe, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this risk. I'm going to take this risk.
I want to bring up Bisi. We have Tammy here, and I appreciate those of you who are on LinkedIn, on Facebook, or even on YouTube watching and commenting, and even sharing this broadcast, because what I know to be true is there are so many aspiring consultants who need to hear this. But Tammy says, and I'm glad you bring this up, Tammy, because this is something that I've dealt with recently, Bisi. I'm being super transparent today, but Tammy says, I think people do not speak their desires because they are afraid it actually may happen. And if it does, how will their world change? I've been dealing with this. It's like the fear of success.
Yes.
I have a $25 million income goal. Woo! Listen, and that scares me.
Yes.
That scares me.
Yes.
And it makes me think, okay, how will I change? Will I be able to deal with the change? How will people around me change? Will they see me the same? How will that relationship evolve? That's been coming up for me. So a lot of times, I think we tend to focus on the fear of what could go wrong, but also it's like, what if everything goes right.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The fear isn't always, oh my God, is it going to fail? Is it going to fail? It's also the responsibility of it all. You know, one of the things as a human, our most basic need is connection. We want to be liked. We want to be loved. We want to connect with people. And over the course of our years, perhaps we've seen people who have been highly successful and they seem so far away from people. They seem like they don't have that connection. So we're thinking, oh my God, if we do that, am I going to lose the people in my life? Or maybe even with the level of success that you already have, you're thinking, I lost a friend or two. What if I scale bigger now? What's going to happen? You know, and I love Tammy what you said about not people are not naming what they desire. And here's the thing about not naming what you desire. I say this: you cannot name what you want. You cannot claim what you won't name. You cannot claim what you will not name. That's one thing. So, and I'm learning that over and over. Like, Bisi, you got to be honest about what you desire. And here's what I know, Al. This desire that we have on our hearts, that you have on your heart, Tammy, whoever is watching, that you have on your heart, would not be put on your heart if you couldn't handle it. I was once told by one of my mentors, because I expressed this very thing. I said, oh my God, I feel like there's something so bright on the inside of me. And I don't know, how am I going to handle this? I don't know. And she said, the light is none of your business. You just follow the next step that's in front of you. Follow the next step that is in front of you. You're not at the 25 million right now. Maybe you are at the 5 million or the 7 million. Just deal with that right now. By the time you get to the 25, your toolbox will be filled. Your strength, it's like going to the gym. You enter the gym and you want to go pick up a 325 dumbbell or weight. What are you doing? Let's start at 15. So we take ourselves out of the game because we're thinking so far ahead. I call that the die zone. Like, you have to assess the levels of fear to your dream, break it down into pieces. What's in your comfort zone today? Maybe it's making $200,000. Maybe it's making $500,000. That's fine. That's what we know how to do. That's my comfort. Okay, got it. What's your stretch? What's something that's just right outside of your comfort zone? Maybe it's $750,000. Maybe it's $1 million. Whew, I'm not sure, but yeah, I think I could do that if I stretch. I think I could do that. And that's what you focus on. Your risk may be 2 million, 10 mil. Your die is 25 mil. And what we do is, oh my God, the 25 mil. Oh my God, that ain't none of your business. Not this time. Focus on the step right in front of you. That's it. Be accountable to your desires.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this goes back to what you said, Bisi, about making micro decisions. The goal may seem huge, but if you break that down, it becomes easier to attain. And I want to go back to Tammy. I appreciate you so much, Tammy. You see what she has. Your responsibility is to dream and desire. The how is none of your business.
None. I tell you, like I said, I mean, I'm the Fear to Freedom coach, but you best believe that I am plugged into a mentor and a coach for my mindset as well. You know, and one of the statements that one of my mentors said to me once when I was caught in, I don't know, how am I going to build this thing? I don't know. It's here. So the how is none of your business. The how is already present. Mm-hmm. The how is already present. And I tell you, Al, that just pops something. Whenever you find yourself, what I found for me, whenever I find myself thinking about how, and I'm obsessed about the how, and I'm trying to figure it out, I got to pause. What do you desire? Are you in alignment with your desire? Because if you are plugged in, tuned in, and tapped into your desire, you know what the next step is. You don't waver about the how. You just know, oh, I'm going to go contact so and so. I'm doing this. Point blank. That's it. So the how is already present. Your job is to say yes to the desire. The answer to how is yes. That's all.
I think that's a question that if you are in this space where the desire has been planted on your heart, you need to ask yourself that simple question, which will help you move forward. Bisi, this was so powerful.
Mm.
I appreciate you so much. As I mentioned, some of your teachings are things that I still use every single day when fear comes up for me. But see, I want you to talk to the consultant who is about to launch their business. They've been procrastinating. They're worried about putting their website together. They're worried about booking the photo shoot. Contracts are coming and going that they could have acquired. But we know that sometimes fear comes up as analysis paralysis. It comes up as ignoring outreach or things that we should be doing because we're a little bit scared of the end result of that or the response. But see, I want you to have a conversation or just share something to help push that person to where they can actually move past whatever is holding them back. So just talk to that new consultant that needs to hear from you.
Love it. Love it. Absolutely. So 5 nights ago, I was in front of my computer and I was having quite a tough day. And a message popped into my inbox. And the message said, it was from a prior client of mine. And she said, hey, I don't know how we missed this message, but we recorded this video for you back in January during your birthday when we saw you celebrating. We were supposed to edit it and send it to you, and we did not. But no better time but now. That message was so timely in so many ways because I was going through one of those tough days. And I listened to the message, and it was two ladies. One of them worked with me for 3 months, 2.5 years ago, and she introduced her friend to me who worked with me for 2 weeks. And then I looked at the date of the video. It was January 10th, 2021. It wasn't even this year. And the message said, one of them said, Bisi, you have shifted my life in a way that I cannot even begin to thank you. I have a new job. I launched my clothing business. I was going through a tough time after losing a family member. I now have no excuses in my life. It's just, I move. I know what I desire is attainable for me. And I was boo-hooing like a child. Why do I share this story? There are people's healing that's hinging on your yes. There are people's healing that is hinging on your yes. Your procrastination is not helping. Your procrastination is not helping because here's the thing. There are some people, they've heard the message over and over and over and over again, but it's never going to land for them until they hear it from you because you are their divine assignment. That's what I believe. You are their divine assignment. So something practical that I will give to you is, again, paint what your comfort zone is. Make a decision about what you want first off. What do you want? What do you really want? Not what you can get. What do you really want? What's that burning desire? Paint what your comfort zone is. What do you do right now? What is it that you do to get that thing? And then come up with 3 little micro decisions, micro steps to reach that goal. What are 3 things you know how to do? They're easy, but you just don't do them. You find yourself distracted. You procrastinate. All of that. What are 3 micro little things? Identify those, write them down. And then I want you to come up with another micro steps that are a little bit, it's going to take some courage. You're not even sure if you could do it, but it's a little scary. What are 2 things that will help you reach that goal? Write that down, 2 steps. And then that one I want you to come up with one thing that is so big. Oh my God. It just makes you want to scream and say, you know what, Elle, I don't think this is for me. It's so, I don't know if I could do this. It's just one thing. That's what I call your die zone. And what I want you to do is forget about the one and the two things. That's your die zone and the risk zone. Forget about those things right now. What I want you to begin doing is taking on your stretches, those three little micro steps that are small steps out of your comfort zone. That is it. That's your assignment. Those little steps. That's it. Now, here's what I want you to know though. When you go to take that one step, those three things that you know how to do, easy for you to do, your babysitter is going to rear its head. That's fear. Where are you going? You're trying to build a business? Wow. Yeah, everybody's building a business. You want to do the same thing. You really want to be called a thought leader out there? Oh my God, that is so risky. Your babysitter fear is going to rear its head, and it does its job quite well. It will speak to you in the language that you understand to keep you back into your comfort zone. So you're going to begin understanding and noticing your voice of fear. This is when you move into your fear responses, procrastinating, distraction, going to get a 2 hour massage, all of that stuff. What I want you to do is just see fear for what it is. I see you. Take a deep breath. I'm going to take this step. And you go. You take your step. Now, here's what I want you to do after that. This is very important. When you take that step, I want you to begin to acknowledge movement forward. Acknowledge the step outside of your comfort zone. I hope you hear me. It's just a step outside of your comfort zone. Not how well you did it, not how much you did, not how perfect it was. A step outside of your comfort zone. So I don't care how tiny it is. I want you to begin acknowledging it because your fear up until now has convinced you should have done it better, faster, quicker, before now, more perfect. It goes on and on and on. And here's what I know about fear. It may motivate you, but it will never let you be satisfied. So when you step out of your comfort zone, celebrate yourself, acknowledge that movement. This is how you begin to expand your comfort zone. I say instead of, because right now you wait for the finish line before you say, yes, I did it. You're waiting for the website to be done before you say, yeah, I'm a business owner, or yes, before you have the conversation. No, trade in those punching gloves for some pom-poms. Okay. Yes. And stop waiting for the finish line to say that you did a thing or you passed or failed. Is it good or bad? Every step out of your comfort zone, acknowledge yourself. Acknowledge yourself. And then all the acknowledgments that you get outside of you, all that validation, just becomes extra. It's just extra. There are people waiting for you. People
I
waiting.
appreciate you for reminding me of that. That's one of the many takeaways that you shared. And as always, I'm so grateful for you just sharing. Bisi, for those who are honest with themselves and can acknowledge that they need a little bit more support with overcoming their fears of starting that business, scaling that business, I want those who are listening to be able to get in contact with you. I know you have an upcoming brunch with Bisi in Atlanta coming up, but how can the audience keep in contact with you? And while Bisi shares her information, if you're here live, we're going to take about 2 to 3 questions. If you have a question, if you're dealing with fear and you want some honest feedback on how to overcome that, just drop it in the comments while we're still here. Bisi, share your contact information with everyone who's tuned in today.
Absolutely. So I am on social media platforms. I'm on LinkedIn as Bisi MacGregor, and I'm on Facebook as Bisi MacGregor as well, and Instagram as well. I play mostly on Facebook and LinkedIn, so you can find me there. I would love, Elle, I love. I love you, and I love what you do in the world, right? And I would love to gift your audience, your people, something. And this is a masterclass, a course, if you will. It's a 3-day masterclass on discovering your fearless formula, because we all have one. We all have one. Some people may say, I'm a procrastinator, and somebody says, I'm a perfectionist. We all have one. In this master class, you get to think differently about your frustrations, your doubts, your fears, so that you can begin to go after your desires, never to be held hostage by your fears again. So what happens is, as I've given you practical steps here, you're going to walk away with some of the most common fears and knowing how to turn them into fuel for your freedom, for your success. All right. So I'd love to give that to you all. And I think you have the link, L, and you can, yeah, you can definitely give to all of your people on here. Yeah, I see Erica says I can procrastinate big time. I didn't know it was fear. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And Erica, I mentioned that also that came up for me, and I had to have an honest, transparent conversation with myself. Like, hold on, why are we putting this off? There's something deeply rooted in procrastination, and for me, it was fear. It was really the fear of success, and so I can definitely relate to you, Erica. That comes up for many of us. And Bitsy, do me a favor. I don't believe I have the link here, but for those who reach out to connect with Bitsy directly, or if you reach out to me directly, I'll be able to share that link where she's going to gift you with her masterclass, which I definitely highly recommend you attend. Absolutely. Any additional questions before we go today? Well, Bitsy, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your transparency and you sharing your journey and really providing us with some tips and strategies to really take our businesses to the next level and also launch our healthcare consulting firms. Bitsy, I appreciate you. I think you don't have any questions. So I have lots of notes, by the way.
I love it. I love it.
And I think you need to go ahead and trademark fear is the gateway to freedom. I'm gonna have to put that on my mirror in the morning. I also have affirmations where I just kind of tune in with myself to deal with fear. So
Yes.
I'm going to think of you when I think about fear is the gateway to freedom. I appreciate you, Betsy.
Sure is. Sure is. Thank you so much for having me on here, Elle. It was I loved it. I enjoyed it. I love what you're doing in this world. I've loved witnessing your expansion. I mean, and just seeing how you are nurturing your community and helping people step into their own desires and what they're called to do. It's incredibly inspiring. And for me, I truly believe until we are operating in our heart's desires, we just would be operating on what I call our wheel of fear.
Mm.
Yeah.
A great takeaway to think about as you are maybe at work, maybe you're in that boardroom right now, and the position, the role, the job you have no longer serves you. Maybe you're being called to something greater. I appreciate you, Betsy, for joining us on today's show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Elle.
Have a great day, everyone. Take care.
Bye.